I want to hear from you all right now. We're kind of in a transition. I'm really curious to hear from you, and then I'll comment on some things. But what what's something that and anybody can raise your hand. Like what's something that you have thought about after one of the classes, or it could be even the readings or something, but really the classes that you've kind of kept thinking about after the class, like something that really just sparked you, got your mind going, and yeah, really curious. And okay, go ahead, yeah. And say your name first off.
Aaron Kepler. I feel like the thing I've been thinking about the most throughout all these classes is that a lot of issues have a lot more layers than I was previously aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I guess I don't educate myself enough on like the in-depthness of all issues that I look at.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, there's a lot more complexities. Like I'll still have my final opinion on it, but I obviously there's more to it that I don't realize.
So what does that say? Wait, did you say what's your name again?
Aaron.
Aaron. Did you, and is your when you say you kind of still have an opinion, but your opinion I would imagine is less fixed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you still have, so instead of maybe saying you still have your opinion, you mean like you still have your thoughts about what we're talking about, but
yeah,
your opinion starts to shift. Yeah. That's cool, actually. That's really, really nice to hear. Because there are so many layers, right? There's so many layers. And yeah, disturbingly so, actually. Yeah. I wish there weren't. I was thinking, when I was younger, I was thinking that by the time I got to my age, there would be fewer layers, and I might have a better understanding of the world than I do. But alas, that has not been the case. So, okay, that's cool. I like that. How about somebody else? Or a question. You could have, if you have a question
You can
for
ask
me.
anything.
Yeah, you can ask me a question too. Everything is up right now. This is your chance, because I'm not going to answer. I don't have time to answer questions during the semester. So if you want to know something, or yes, just push it up. Yeah.
Sorry. My name is Jill, and my question is, how do you come up with the topics that we talk about every day? Is it just kind of current events, or is it something you plan out?
I had just things that happen. Sometimes things that people say in class, and then we'll kind of talk to the team a little bit and say, oh, that'd be a really cool class. Maybe like next on Thursday's class, it's because I saw this study, and I just said, wow, I wonder wonder why that is that these things happen in the way that they did. The results of the study were what they were. And then I thought, yeah, let's ask you. I'm going to have you talk about it. You can tell me what it is, right? So it's a lot of stuff like that. Yesterday I was at rec hall working out, and there was the big television screen, there was a big statement to the Penn State community, and I said, what does that mean? And so I took a photo of it, and so that's going to be a class. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So other times people send emails. Yeah, I get a lot of emails from people and who say like, hey, why don't you do this, or why don't you do that? And or students in class will come up after class and say. So that's how it. Yeah. There's never a shortage. You know, whatever you might think about, those of you who don't like Donald Trump, for example, for me, this is a guy who just keeps on giving, man. I just it's like one thing after another. I have a list of probably 40 classes we could have, just because of the things that he and his team have pushed forward in the past 4 weeks, or I don't know, however long it's been. My God. So, that's kind of, yeah. Yo.
What are those beads you're always holding?
Yeah, wait, what's your name?
Daniel?
Daniel. What are these?
Yeah.
Years ago, kind of when I first started teaching in a larger lecture hall, not this size, it wasn't this size, but it's kind of unnerving to be in the moment. Like, you really have to be present. And so I found a Buddhist monk had given me some prayer beads, and I found that they just really kept me calm and focused. You know, every time I look at I would feel them or run them through my fingers. I just was a reminder that I'm going to die, literally, right? And so it just really helped to keep me centered. And then you know, people give me beads. These I actually got these in Cairo last year. So, crazy story. Like in Ramadan, at like 2 in the morning, because during Ramadan, if you you know, you're not, especially when it's hot out, you're not doing anything all day, and then everything is rocking and rolling all night long. So at 2 in the morning, I was in the souk, and I got some prayer beads. Yeah, got my hair cut at like 3 in the morning. Man, it's cool. If you have a chance to be in a Muslim country during Ramadan, I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, so that's it. Yeah, so I have lots of different beads. Keeps me focused. Wait, can I say something about that? Good friend of mine died this morning, and he used to teach, and he's probably my best friend here in State College, and he was a professor, and he taught in this room, and yeah, he died. There's disturbance in the field. He's been struggling with health issues, so I'm not devastated in the way that I would be, but yeah. Life is really precious, y'all. Yeah. How about somebody else?
Hello.
Yep.
My name is Nate. I'd like
Nate?
to start. Yep, Nate. I'd like to start by expressing my condolences.
Yeah, thanks, man.
and sympathy. Sorry for your loss. On the topic of equity, so you had an interesting example during the DEI lecture, I believe, where one person started low, another person started in the middle, and how hard, it was basically an example of how hard they had to work to get up there, right? In the readings or the videos, we came across social justice. So in the image for social justice, it had one boxer with his hand tied behind his back and his legs tied, and the other one, you know, able to box on the idea that both have an equal chance of winning, right? So what my question is there a way that we can have equity without oppression or holding down an elevated group or an elevated class?
Well, the problem is once you establish, once inequality is established for whatever reason, it's generally going to be established with it's never established with fairness, because societies don't operate that way, right? So if inequity or inequality was established on fundamentally fairness principles, meaning that truly the people that desired to work the hardest, the people who were most capable of working the hardest, that kind of thing, they're the ones that got ahead, then everything would be fine because it got established in that way. But it didn't. Around the world, we generally don't see that. And so once it's established that way, there's, on the basis of unfairness, the only way to unestablish it, right, to reconcile it, is with unfairness. The unfairness is going to create unfairness. And so you just have to decide, is that what we want to do? And usually the second bout of unfairness, you know, it's always going to be people who say, wait, I wasn't part of the first unfairness. You know what I mean? I wasn't part of creating this system, so why do I get punished for reconciling the inequity, right? And they have a point. And so, yeah, I don't know what to do, right? So this is the thing. We're stuck, you know? Yeah. Like who is willing to give their land up? Every acre in the United States was taken from indigenous peoples not that long ago. And who here is willing to just be like, yeah, all right, I'll give my land up to re-establish this kind of a sense of equity? It's like, no, nobody's going to do that. And so that's the problem. And generally speaking, what so many people want is just at least acknowledge that. You know, when you listen to people who are talking about the unfairness, if people if people would just acknowledge that, just kind of like what you're acknowledging by nature of asking that question, that would be like, oh, okay. God, thank you. Thank you for at least acknowledging that, yeah. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, bro.
So, I wanted to ask, what's your opinion on Trump's his immigration policies, and if you think there's a better way to handle it?
What's my thought on Trump on the immigration policy, and do I think it's gonna?
Do you think there's a better way to handle it, or to achieve the same goal that they're trying to achieve?
Well, we're in the same boat of trying to fix a problem without creating another problem, right? I know people who are here without documentation, who are really lovely human beings, who are here in the United States, right? Many people who are lovely human beings, great human beings. They work really hard. They, you know, it's like, and I think like, oh man, they're the kind of people you want, you know, and so like, we gonna tell them, yeah, you gotta go back. It's like, because back is not, there is no back home for them, right? It's not like you can't think about it that you just leave your house right now and you go somewhere else, and a year later they say you got to go home, and you just go back to your home. It's not like that for so many people, right? So the big problem I have with Trump is just the meanness and the divisiveness, and not, you know, I've spent a lot of time in communities in Latin America where people have left to come to the United States, you know, communities where there are no men, because all the men just went north and crossed over the border, and they're working and sending money home. And the poverty, you can't hold it. Like, you can't hold it. If you were there, if I could take regardless of what your opinion is on this immigration policy, if you went with me to the community and had conversations with people, you would feel the struggle. Like, oh, shit. And so just the meanness that involved. Like, you know, Trump calling shithole countries. So like, come on, man. That's like, you're just, that's so utterly disrespectful and mean and ignorant. And you don't want to do that. We don't need to do that. It's just bad for us to be divided and to have such feelings, to generate such feelings. So that's what I think about that. It's very unfortunate. I don't have an answer to the issue, and I've been studying undocumented immigration. I thought I was going to be a scholar of immigration back when I was in my early 20s, and it just didn't work out that way. But what that means is I studied it a lot, and I don't know. Yeah. Huh. Yes.
Hey, so
Wait, what's your name?
It's Parth.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wait, how do you spell that?
It's P for parrot,
Yeah.
A THRTH, TH for thunder.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was willing to actually ask this question from the DEI classes, like from the starting of it. And as if a person who is a small business owner and he actually wants to like create some job policies in his job environment, and due to like some racial issues and
Mm-hmm.
also the equality issues regarding the genders and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, like if he is a car dealership owner and that person wants to actually create some jobs for the people, and the only two jobs he can make right now is sales manager
Yeah.
and sales associate.
Yeah.
But at the same moment, when he's hiring a white male or like any other male out there, that person is able to sell more cars rather
Yeah.
than if he is like hiring a female or like any black
dude,
any-
hiring you with your accent, right?
Yeah,
People are way more likely to buy a car from me
yeah,
with my here in the U.S.
yeah,
than you with your accent.
yeah.
For
So
sure.
like, of course, he will be willing to pay that person more rather than any other person. But
Yeah.
if he will like create any other jobs, like if he will like create any accountant or something,
Yeah.
at that moment he will be like disgracing the other person who's
Yeah.
actually like willing to make an effort. So what are your comments about that? That
Well,
if
here's
like
here's the thing. Yeah, I get where you're going with it. It's a really complicated question, and I'm going to give it a simple answer. It's a good kind of question. Like it's a what if and this kind of thing, right? But here's the thing. When you boil these kinds of questions down about what's fair and regarding race and gender and and disability status and age and all sorts of stuff, right? When you boil it down, there are always layers, going back to the layers, right? There are layers of complexity to them, to most examples, as would be your example. And so if we try to fix those layers of complexity with some mandate that comes from above, that's like, okay, we're going to do this, we just run into big problems. And so I think what we always want to do is be open to the layers of complexity. And that's what your example points to. And that's what I'm trying to point to as well. Some things are not so incredibly complex. It's just like, listen, man, you can't do this and you can't do that. But mostly it's pretty complex. Yeah. Bro.
My name's Amelia. I was wondering, for the exams, the videos and the articles that you assign,
Yeah.
I recognize some of them were focusing on equity, one of the videos and a couple of the articles,
Yeah.
but some of the other ones were like what people wear in minus 95 degrees,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the Chinese influencers focusing on like America, and then especially the pictures
like
at
country.
Costco.
yeah.
So how do you decide what articles and what videos
That
to
same thing.
focus
People
on?
send me stuff like that one about living at sub-zero temperatures. I'm like, this is really cool. It just when I watched that, it got my mind going. Like, how cool is that? And I think, well, this would be really cool to anybody because this is a culture. This is where people are living on a part of the planet. This is how they're living. And what this class is about is constantly showing us a window into the lives of different people. And so for me, that's just exciting, right? I'm never going to travel there, but I can watch this. Well, I might. I mean, one of you might, but I probably won't because I was in St. Petersburg, and it was like 15 degrees below zero when I was there, man. And I'm just like, damn. Yeah, I watched people swim in the river also at 15 degrees below. That was crazy. Russians, man, Russians. That's all I'm going to say. So, so that's how it comes up. So people send me stuff. I come across it, yeah. And they go in lots of different directions. I try to do like something that's leans one way, there's a lot of the New York Times stuff, but if you notice the New York Times, there's no opinion things. It's not like the opinion pages. The opinion pages of the New York Times, I don't even read them anymore because I just don't like the opinion generators. The stuff, so if you think like, the New York Times, it's like fake news, whatever people think. It's like, no, these are really interesting articles by very thoughtful and dedicated reporters. So anyway, that's how we get there. Can you hand it to this dude right here? Oh, wait. Bro.
Hey, my name's
you.
Trip Tagle. I just wanted to ask if you saw it, what were your thoughts on the Super Bowl halftime show? Because I thought
Dude, I didn't know Kendrick Lamar was a Trumper, man, a Trump supporter.
that was your takeaway.
Yeah, damn, man. Because I looked at that, I didn't see a single person who wasn't black. And I'm like, there's no diversity, so he's following Trump. Like, yeah, we're going to get rid of all diversity, and we're going to just do, like, all black people here. We're going to have a diverse group of people, or no, going to be no white people, no Latinos, no Asians, no nothing, man. It's just like, there's going to be black people. So I would think if you're a big Trump person, you'd be like, Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, he's got it, man, finally. He's going to got this figured out.
I thought it was really pertinent to the topic we went over of code switching.
Yeah, yeah.
I think a whole lot of households in this country were like, wow, he shouldn't have done that, right? But
Yeah.
he was just being himself.
Well, here's the thing, right? One of the really cool things about living in a nation like the United States, for me anyway, is that I really appreciate cultures, and I really appreciate everything that's cultural. So it's music, and it's food, and it's dance, and it's language, and it's clothing, and customs, and all that. Like, I really appreciate it, and I enjoy. One of the cool things about being in the United States is that I enjoy being right here in my own backyard, so to speak, which is why I love this class. I like having access to so many different things, okay? And so for me, I really appreciate when people here in the United States hang on to their culture in a really tight way, right? So I like music. I don't want everything to have to get all blended together. So I think in that sense, it's very cool. Like, you should be, really appreciate that. It's a good, it's very cool. Yeah. Bro.
I'm Gerald.
Gerald. Yeah.
If you recall last class, I asked you something about soul, which leads into this question. What is the most interesting place you've ever visited, and why?
Well, at the time, it was when I visited. Dude, I can't answer that question, man. Look, I've been to. I'll tell you some of the interests. So I've been to Haiti about 10 times. A lot of friends in Haiti. Haiti is, man, there's nothing like Haiti. Been to Ethiopia, had a project in Ethiopia. I love Ethiopia. Been to Iraq. Been to so many places that are just, and when I travel, like I enter the culture because I'm always going for a reason and with people. So it's just everywhere. It's fascinating. Yeah. My first love was Spain, and my second home was Ecuador. But I now have a home in Colombia, and so I go there a lot. And my second home now is kind of Korea. So how about that? But Iraq was cool.
Yeah, that's. I'll take that. Did you see the Hanging Gardens in Iraq?
In Iraq?
Yeah,
No.
like it's like a makeshift.
Yeah. No. All right, bro, at the top.
My name's Vinny. I'm from New York. I just want to know, like, if you appreciate culture that much, like, why don't you live in a place that's more diverse than Pennsylvania? Like,
Dude, no, in the middle of a cornfield
Yeah.
in central Pennsylvania. Oh, my God. I've been asking myself that question, bro, for 35 years, man, and I still don't have an answer. Here's the deal, because this is where I ended up for whatever reason. It just is. And then I allow the world to come to me. Like I call it in. So that's how it is. So I have lived in cities all around, and again, like, I have an apartment in Bogota. I mean, I get out a lot, right? So, and this is just where I've been called to be. So you all bring it. You bring it to me, and that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. And this guy's here, and Nisha's here. So it's like, it's all good. Yeah. Wait, turn that on.
All right, so you talk about being someone who's traveled the world, and very recently you just talked about, not listening to opinions, like in the news and stuff. So, have you ever found a time where you traveled somewhere, and you found the narrative that you found, or the things that you found while traveling, to be different than what the news reports?
Oh my God, absolutely.
And if
The biggest place is Israel and Palestine. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Just right there. Israel and Palestine, man.
Would you say that is the most profound difference that you saw?
Yeah. Hey, you just have to go, right? I mean, there are a couple Israelis in the class, or people at least have dual citizenship. A couple people have dual citizenship with Palestine. You just can't even hold it. You can't explain. Yeah. I will say that. Yeah. Maybe Russia in a way, but you have to. But only if you grew up when I grew up. For you all, it's not the same. And then of course being in the Gulf, right? And the amount of wealth in the Gulf, like you. Yeah, man. I remember when first time I went to the Middle East, I went to Qatar, and when I went, people were like, "Oh, be careful over there," And I'm like, "Dude, why? Because I'm gonna get run over by a Bentley?" You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? It just, you can't even imagine, right? And you just feel so. You can just very quickly feel so dumb. Yeah, when you go like that, kind of thing. So right? You can't even hold it. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. All right, one more.
I'm Yusra. How do you choose your volunteers? Like, do you pick specific people for specific topics, or how does it work?
Well, sometimes it depends on what you write in the piece. Someone will say something and it'll just spark for me. And then sometimes I just randomly pick people. Like, for example, if nobody responds, the thing that I put up there, like if you think you're someone who really thinks about what we talk about as sexism, because again, I don't want to say sexism. I want to say what is sort of generally talked about as sexism. If you're one of those people that thinks about this a fair amount, apply, because I'd like a few people who really think about this. But if you're not, if I don't get anyone to apply on that one, I'll just pick people randomly. Be like, all right, you're on. Let's see where we go here. So, yeah. One more? Yeah, all right.
Yeah. As I've told you before, my hometown is Bogota, Colombia.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, out of all of the places in the world, why choose to buy an apartment there?
We were one day. Lori and I got invited down to Bogota to give some lectures on the peace process, back like 8 years ago, and we were walking in El Parque El Virrey, yeah, and it was like 1 a.m, and we're like, damn, this is. It felt like we were in Spain, and I've always wanted to have an apartment in Spain, and we just said, this feels right. Well, my friend is a real estate agent, so we said, hey, find us a place right here around this park. And 2 months later, she did, and we were like, all right, we'll buy it. It's a small place, but it's nice. Feels good. Yeah, that's how we ended up there. It was really random, completely random. Yeah. That's a cool question.